Well, good morning, everybody. Hope you're all doing fantastically well after a fantastic win for Leeds United. Slap a like on the video. Make sure you're commenting, subscribing, and liking for all the content that you need, desire, request. You can get it here on One Leeds. Yeah, cool. Cheers. Just getting the coffee in. But yeah, guys, I really appreciate all of your support. The support yesterday on the watch along was unbelievable. The donations that you guys made, a little bit of an insight actually with the website that we've got on now, which is live, which you guys can check out on oneleeds.com. Look, it paid for the hosting server yesterday, which was unbelievable. So thank you so much for your support, everybody. And that's just like a little insight from me to you. I just wanted to say that because you guys have been fantastic with the donations, and I really appreciate it. And yeah, as I said, everybody, this video today is sponsored. It's sponsored by IPM Group, a leading provider of comprehensive security and facilities management solutions across the UK. Whether it's advanced CCTV monitoring, top-tier commercial cleaning, or bespoke security systems and services, IPM Group delivers excellence and is committed to safeguarding businesses, stadiums, and communities 24/7 support and state-of-the-art technology. Learn more about how IPM can protect what matters most to you, everybody, at ipmgroup.uk.com. And the link for that, everybody, is in the description. Shout out to Rick and the gang there. Yeah, and a quick rest in peace as well. And it should be a longer rest in peace segment as well. Sol Bamba, who was a Leeds United player, I believe, in the 2014 and 15 season. I believe he captained the club as well. Died yesterday, or it might have been the day before, actually, but I think it was yesterday at the age of 39. I completely missed it. I just woke up this morning and saw it. Horrific news. We know he's had his battles for years. Sol Bamba as well. So yeah, awful news and thoughts and feelings from obviously the One Leeds space go to his family and everybody involved as well. So really sad news. But obviously we've got a bit of news to discuss today when it comes to Leeds United's three things. And what I want you guys to do is let me know in the comment section below the three things that you learned from yesterday, and you know what we're sort of learning now from this group. Obviously, it's a put together group, isn't it? It really is. It's a group of which you're looking at and thinking, well, there's a hell of a lot of new signings there. You know, there was 3. It wasn't in the last couple of days as well. So there's new bodies in there. Players leaving. We managed to keep hold of Max Ferber and William Jonta, which I think was big towards the back end of the window, because I thought that might have been quite challenging. And you might see the title, everybody. Tanaka is insane. And yeah, it's just a little bit of fun, isn't it? Because we only saw a little bit of him. But yesterday, I just loved the midfield options, and he was one of which, you know, came on and looked very silky smooth. But yeah. And the Smith Elvis says, love the Thunderbolt. Sol scored against Wolves. So Richard has he's put his 3 things in here. Tanaka is as good as I bigged up. Happy for Joseph. Manor, if he stays fit, will take us up. I think it's a good 3 there, mate. I think it's a really good 3. So Tanaka, yeah, let's get into him, shall we? So look, we're not just going to focus on him, but I think it's key to note the new signings and the impact that they made yesterday and how they can fit in. So, you know, I thought when Tanaka came on in particular, just looked really comfortable, didn't he? Really silky, really smooth, always available for a pass, always looking, I thought, to play the pass forward and then sort of redirecting his body movement and shape if there was nothing on, and just playing the smart pass. Now, a lot of you guys will say, Connie, you hammered Gruev for doing something similar, but I think you can just tell with Tanaka that he's always wanting the ball, but the first movement is open body, forward, second touch, forward. And I just liked him. Thought he was a real smooth operator in there. He wasn't on for long, as we all know, but I think you can always tell a player, can't you? You know, we're all good at that. We've all watched football for long enough. And yeah. Also, guys, if you fancy this and other merchandise, link is in the description below. Old Jack here with his bottle of champers. I know a lot of you guys have asked me about the merch, links in the description below. But yeah, the Northern Rock. But yeah, it felt like in that midfield we've just got such a variety of options, haven't we? Such a variation of what Leeds can do, and yeah, it's fantastic. I think how Tanaka came on yesterday and just looked very good. Looked very good and very complete. Let's talk about the others anyway. Ramazani. We spoke on it yesterday on the post-match, and we elaborated on it quite a bit, but maybe not as much as we should have done. I just thought when Ramazani came on, his balance was superb. I thought he was a little bit right at the beginning, naturally, because he'd just come on for his first game. He's a little bit more conscious of what he was doing and his positioning. But then I genuinely believe like 5 minutes in, he thought, yeah, I'm probably better than everybody on this pitch. And he started playing the balls around the corners, cute little passes into central midfield and looking for the 1-2 all the time, and his speed over a short distance. And we have to look at as well his defensive work, which was bigged up at Almeria. And his defensive work just looked second to none. He was helping Byram. As I mentioned yesterday, he was pointing where Byram should go in the defensive capacity. So, yeah, it was good. And obviously the option of us having Schmidt in there, at sort of whatever point to help Bogle or help on that left-hand side. You could see yesterday how it was working. You could also see how the number 10 would have helped Leeds, of course. But, you could see it all clicking together a little bit more. So, yeah, I was very impressed with that. And we've got to talk about sort of Mano Solomon, who I thought, maybe I was a tad harsh on him yesterday just for the predictability of him, which I won't say it was harsh. It was just that we know if he went down the flank, if he utilised his left foot, he was going to destroy Louis Coyle, because then he's defending on the back foot. And he was, I think, a lot of the time yesterday, even watching the extended highlights back, he's getting the ball and cutting inside, getting the ball and cutting inside. I'm not saying he can't do it to a high level, by the way, a high degree, 100% if he stays fit. But I thought Louis Coyle had one of his better games, and naturally doesn't he? Against put it down. Just getting the coffee. Just gonna there we go. But yeah, he had one of his. It was one of those where I just thought with Solomon, the cutting inside, it became predictable. Coyle was having a good game. I thought it seems to have a really good game against us, as does Liam Miller. So they were the danger, really. I thought even Coyle getting forward for them was pretty complete in their half. So yeah, and then Liam Miller is just lightning, isn't he? And I thought it was a 50-50 battle between him and Bogle. Not one of Bogle's best games, I thought. But overall, it was you coming up against probably one of the best players on their team, yesterday in Louis Coyle. So I thought Solomon did a good job, but he became slightly predictable, I thought. So when he cut inside, I was like, right, come on, we need to flesh this open. Can you go on the left? And he started, and then he went on the left for the goal. Brilliant anticipation from obviously Matteo Joseph, who we'll get onto in a little bit, and Leeds went 1-0 up. You see, I thought Solomon for his first game, and only new lad starting, he was always offering himself. R3 says you can tell he wants to cut in and shoot. Once he gets his fitness off, he'll be hitting that more times. Ryan says, I have to say I was pleased to see Peru score too. I noticed that. I know to help his confidence, you bang on, mate. Crazy says, bit miffed that the extended highlights didn't show much of Al and Ramazani. Mike's in the building. Hi, Mike. Concerned after the first 15 minutes, we were so good, but we seemed to drop off in the first half, and better teams than Hull could punish us. Interested to see how and if Schmidt will push Bogle. He was good. A couple of moments we felt a bit open at right back. Jack says, think Rodon and Aronson struggled quite a bit yesterday. Yeah, some interesting thoughts there. Where's Adventure B? And John Charles has got in as well. Al needs to start, and Grueb's bench till last 20. Al runs rings around Grueb. Ramazani is also going to be one magic sign. It looks very Somerville-esque in ability. Nonso and Solomon, epic together. Yeah, some really good thoughts there. Sinister Gaming's asked my opinion on Aronson as well, and I guess that rolls into the next thing we learned. Really, Peru came on, and sometimes that decision making was a little bit slower again, but lovely little finish on his weak side as well, under a bit of pressure to put that in the bottom corner. And with his lack of confidence, I was thinking, God, is he gonna sky this? Is he gonna roll it wide? I don't really know. But he was able to just fleece that into the bottom corner. It was a nice little finish. And overall, I think the conversation about the number 10 now is interesting, because I think it's going to be, if Aronson's on the pitch and Nonso's on the pitch, it's going to interchange between those two, isn't it? But you see Nonso go out wide and Aronson go in the 10, and they fluctuate during the game. You'll see Aronson veer out wide left and wide right, and then Nonso will come central. So I wonder if there's going to be an actual position that Willie Nonso and Aronson are going to play when they're on the pitch together, because they both merge, in my opinion, into a hybrid. So I don't know how that's going to work really going forward. It's interesting because at points Aronson's not going to play, in my opinion. You might get to a situation where it's Mano Solomon, Willie Nonso and Ramazani. But I do wonder, when you look at those two substitutions and the dynamic of them, I wonder if one of them's going to be a sub, I think Manor Solomon might actually take that left wing spot, which would mean that Ramazani would go right, which is interesting because Ramazani you would expect to be on the left. But it looks like Solomon starting as well yesterday when he's had, a lack of maybe presence in the group that Ramazani has had. I thought Ramazani would be the one to start, but no, Solomon was the one to start. And you wonder if he's going to be if the hat's going to be tipped a little bit towards Manor, which is really, really interesting because I didn't expect that whatsoever. But happy with Solomon, I really am. Just the variation in his game, I think, will help Leeds a lot. And if he's able to go down that left hand side as well as go cutting in, as we said, the Spurs fans even on their Reddit were saying he becomes very predictable when he's cutting inside. He is at championship level now. If he can remain fit, if he's able to cut inside and completely tear apart opponents, then I'm all right with that. It doesn't matter if he keeps cutting inside, but I think the variation of wingers play has to come down the flank a little bit. If you're going to be a right footer on the left-hand side, you also have to be able to use your left foot in an effective way, and that's exactly what he did. But the number 10 position is going to be really interesting now because it's going to be dependent on Aronson's involvement in proceedings. If he's involved, it's going to be interesting to see the dynamic between him and Nonto because they kind of switch. If Solomon and Ramazani are involved as opposed to, let's say, an Aronson, and Nonto's in the middle, is he going to be a little bit more of a fixed position? That's what I'm interested in. But I think Wayne's pretty spot on here as well. Nonto finding so much space in the last two games. Rutter always seemed to have someone on his back. And dropping deep. I completely agree with what you say there, mate. Paul said I think we'll win this league with 4 games to go. Love that, mate. But yeah, and I guess that's the thing we have to focus on as well. Everybody, it's how do we now have that real quality in terms of build-up? You got Bogle, who's very proficient on the ball. Strauch's just superb, isn't he? Rodon's had a bit of a rough start. Firpo, my God, what a performance from him yesterday. What a performance. And he's been, I'm so happy with how it's gone with Firpo. I couldn't have predicted how this career arc's gone, this upward trajectory. He's been fantastic. I'm so happy for him. And that's what we all want as Leeds fans. Leeds fans who come on here and say, "Oh, you got an agenda." No, I haven't. What do I want Illan Meslier to perform and prove me wrong 100% week in, week out? Yep, all day. Dan James proved me wrong last season. And Firpo's proved me wrong as well. I wanted Aronson to come in. I said the league was too physical for him about 2 years ago if we got relegated. He's come in so far and been really decent. So I want these players to prove me wrong, of course. So that sort of counteracts the agenda thing. But, Melee is one of those, but Firpo's the classic example, the absolute classic example of how we've probably all been proven wrong there in how he's turned around his fitness as well. And that's the thing which sort of excites me maybe a little bit of when you're looking at someone like Manor Solomon. I know Firpo's injuries weren't as probably serious as a meniscus, but Junior Firpo was injured consistently, and that didn't change. So what we've got to look at there is a potential for someone like Manor Solomon to play a lot of games this season. Even worst case scenario, we get like 20, 25 games out of him. I guess that's a bonus, but for what we're paying it, then potentially we want to get a little bit more out of that. Where Adventures B says Connor, the biggest weakness is the communication from Melee. He doesn't seem to be connected to his defense, particularly Rodon. Farker needs to get that sorted. Yeah, that is the community. I don't want to focus too much on him, mate, because apparently I've got this agenda against him. But I think when you see us being a bit weak and you see us being a little bit worrisome at the back and a little bit, I don't know. He made some good. Melee made a good save in the first half. We have to say that, and the sweep a bit. He did really, really well there. I'm 100% saying that with him, but there is a bit of a breakdown there. You can see, and if you focus on the centre backs, and you focus on the back line, even the midfield with Ampadu had a go at him in the second half. I think it was the first half towards the end. There's a bit of a breakdown there, and he looks terrified, doesn't he? So, yeah, there is a breakdown there. I think there will continue to be a breakdown there. But look, if we can even get to January, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if we can keep X amount of clean sheets, unbelievable. His stock might be high, you might be able to sell. I don't know. But overall, everybody, that is 3 clean sheets, which is really good. When you look at West Bromwich Albion, Sheffield Wednesday and Hull City, that's a really good thing to build on. Burnley have gone into this window off the back of a draw, and we've got Burnley next at home. If we can get a win there, we're right back in it. And everybody, another thing that we learned is we're 2 points off second. Do you know what I mean? We're 2 points off second with a bit of a patchy start. that if we'd have bloody beaten Portsmouth, we'd probably, we'll be top now, wouldn't we? Or we'd be second at least. But yeah, I think the nervy ones right now probably Sunderland. Sunderland seems to have got their what together, which basically means that with all the young prospects that they've got in that team, if they gel and galvanize at one point, and that synergy is through the roof, then they're gonna hit full stride. Years ago, people were predicting that with the model that they've brought in, and with the players that they've brought in off that model, they were gonna at some point hit that upward point, and maybe the league's just that weak this season that they're able to do that. I don't know, but yeah, what I'll say about Meslier is there's more around that situation. Rahit says, Connor, I think we can say the same thing about Rodon and him not communicating properly. We don't know really what is exactly said on the pitch, and we can only assume. You bang on, mate. And as well, Rodon, I don't think he's had the best start to the season, as if we're seeing Strauch just absolutely, win that defensive conversation of who is the better player. Pascal is just when he's fit, he just levels, isn't he? He's such a good footballer. He's so dangerous. I think what frustrates me a little bit is just the lack of presence Rodon has in the opposition box when it comes to corners, or set pieces or anything. You've got a 6'3", 6'4" lad in there. In Joe Rodon, there's no presence. Once again, what did you see yesterday when we had anything from corners? Willian Yonto was offside for one of them. Two of them, I think it was. But it's always Pascal getting on the end of them. We have one threat from a corner, it's Pascal Strauch. Joe Rodon just doesn't seem to anticipate, but Pascal always, whether or not it's near post, whether or not it's back post, central, he's always in the right place to get a knock on from a corner. He's our only threat. And I think Joe needs to really work on that. Maybe at training, they can set up some corners and some set pieces where he can try and interpret where the ball's going to flight. But yeah, Rodon, that's my big frustration with him, because we can look at the corner takers, which, we still don't have a decent one, in my opinion, apart from Rothwell in the team. But I think my frustration with a lot of it is it's that anticipation from the Leeds players. Even when it's flighted at a certain point, it's only Strauch who seems to interpret and anticipate. So, yeah, I do find that slightly frustrating. Mr. Paul is in the building, gifted 5 Leeds memberships. What a top man you are, Paul. Thank you so much, buddy. Thank you so much. And all of you, look at that. Gifted 5. Right, he's in there as well. What a legend, Paul. Thank you so much for doing that, my friend. Really appreciate your support. So, yeah, what else? What else do we need to talk about? Well, I think Matteo Joseph. I think, I wanted to, talk about him. I absolutely love the man. You guys know this, and I'm so happy for him. He deserves all the flowers. And now you're looking at it, he's had 4 games and 3 goal involvements, 2 assists and a goal. In pre-season, he scored 4 goals against the likes of, Valencia, Hanover, Schalke. So, look, guys, we've got to be happy with it. And this is why I said stick with him. Stick with him. I will say this. Fans were... I could not believe what I was reading. Get Bamford. And so you see it on social media. If this was Bamford, he'd be getting absolute pelters. Well, it's not Bamford. And Bamford scored what? How many goals he scored? What? 58 goals in 200 appearances. It's just not good enough for him to be the main number 9. It's not. And then Joseph comes in, as a little bit, according to some, of quiet games. But I don't see them as quiet games. I see what Joseph has done so far as the other side to the game that people bigged up Bamford for, will criticise naturally Perot for, and I'll do that for myself as well. But you've then got to give that credit to Matteo Joseph, because he does everything Bamford does and more. Runs the channels, holds the ball up well. He's physically been able to compete with some of the toughest sides in the division, in my opinion, before the international break. And especially pre-season as well, when you're looking at Valencia, etc., when it was a rough game. So he's shown all the other sides to a striker performance. And I'm not just bigging him up to for argument's sake. I'm bigging him up because I think he can be a real player for us, and a real chip for this season, and Leeds doing well. Yeah, I think we've actually got a number 9. We didn't have a number 9 last year, and that is maybe where the squad's a little bit more balanced. As quite rightly as a comment said earlier on, Rutter had to literally drag the ball from central all the way into that final third a lot of the time. But now we actually have ball playing centre midfielders who can do that in Rothwell and Tanaka. So yeah, I'm just a massive fan. I'm an absolute massive fan. But yeah, I think Matteo Joseph getting on the score sheet yesterday, really predicting that ball from Ramazani and Solomon to go across the front post really well. And it was another really good performance from him, just holding the ball up well, using that physicality, been a nightmare for defenders, constantly moving. And I think we've got a player there. an absolute player there, and just a live wire. And he's never going to be easy for opposition defensive to control a player like that who's just bedded on pace and physicality and athleticism and sprints and agility and willingness as well. There's a mentality. He's got a strong mentality, and he wanted everybody to just do the whole read the back of my shirt thing when he'd scored, which was great. Really, really good. Super Joe says, by the way, the hair suits you, bro. Thanks, mate. I've got to read those out when I can. Jack says, Joseph Holder play for a 20-year-old, puts all strikers in the last 10 years. We've had to shame. Jack, you bang on, mate. And that's why I just wanted, it's not an I told you so thing, but even if he's going through a barren patch, even if I'm speaking to one of you on here who isn't sure about Joseph, just stick with him, because we stuck with Archie Gray, right? And Archie did have bad games. Jack Clark, Liam Miller tore him apart last season towards the Christmas stage. Yeah, we stuck with him. You've got to stick with him. Yeah, and he's a young lad, and he's got that next level ceiling. Just because his name isn't Matteo Gray and has that Gray dynasty following him doesn't mean that you don't give him the same leeway as we gave Archie when Archie was having tough spells last season, because he wasn't great throughout the whole season, let's be brutally honest. But he was a young lad who'd come in, and we all gave him a chance. Joseph is the exact same. He's been at the club since he was 16 years old, and he just clearly enjoys it. He enjoys putting on the shirt. He's very articulate. He's willing. I just think everything about him, he's just the complete striker that we needed and we've got within our ranks. And it's a good bit of recruitment, you have to say, from Victor Orta. And I genuinely believe he's going to get 20 goals this season. I genuinely think that. So could be wrong, but that's my prediction anyway. Chris says, not OUFC related, Connor, but did you manage to get Oasis tickets, Connor? I did, pal. I did. Paul's in the building. Great to have competition for that place, at least. Tanaka looked a very tidy player when he came on, did indeed. Pro might be clinical, but that's all he is. He offers nothing else to the game. It's so refreshing to see a striker that runs in behind. And that's it, right? That's why Perot's going to be an impact guy, you know. And if you're bringing that off the bench, that finish, which was just lovely, you know, and he's still got that striker instinct, you're bringing that off the bench. Look at the depth, everyone. Al Tanaka, who's not going to be depth for long. I think Gruev's going to be on the bench now, but look, Gruev off the bench, settle the game down. Joe Rothwell. Did we all think when Rothwell came on, he was good again? Like, honestly, guys, everyone's saying he's the new Mark Rocker for me, but I love Rothwell. I think everything about his midfield game is just good. He's fast. He's a good decision maker, even good with his weak foot, wants the ball consistently, willing to get forward and drive with it. And look, that off the bench, massive fan of that. There's an argument for me he should be starting, as we all know. But huge fan of him. And then obviously you've got, you know, to see the game out, you've got individuals on there as well. You've got Verba to see out the game as well. So, and then Schmidt's going to be there as well, isn't he? So the depth is, and it might have been misconstrued last night. I put out, because Daniel Farke said, you know, we don't have a number 10, but I'm going to have to deal with that sort of thing. And I put out on Twitter, it's like, well, yeah, Daniel, you're going to have to deal with it because the squad's good enough, mate. And it might have come across that I was having a dig at Daniel Farke, and I really wasn't. It was one of those things where I was like, well, yeah, obviously, Daniel, you're going to have to get the best out of that squad. And he's right. I wanted a number 10. You wanted a number 10. But there's a separate question. Is the squad good enough? And it is. And my tone from what Daniel Farke said afterwards was I anticipated that as maybe he's saying he's maybe got that excuse again and been like, well, I'm just going to have to work with this. But I could have been wrong with that. I could have been wrong, and I can hold my hands up. I'm a big boy, and I could have said, look, he could have just been saying what we're all saying. You know, we need a number 10, and I'll work with what I've got, which, you know, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Ray Rothwell needs game time quality. Yeah, definitely, mate. Wonder if we'll ever pull out the 4-3-3 again, or Ampadu, Rothwell, Tanaka. Yeah, that'd have been lovely, mate. That would have been lovely. Melia still decided to attack my airline yesterday. Makes me so nervous. Connor Gascoigne. Hey, I've not had Gascoigne yet. But yeah, the three, Rohit as well says he's not sure about Bogle, just a little too risky. He's like 2021 Firpo. I thought he was all right, you know. I've been a big fan of him this season, haven't I? I love the signing. I think it's going to be one of our top signings this window. Rothwell, I'm a massive fan of him. Bogle, and Rothwell, of course. But Bogle, it's going to be interesting with Schmidt, isn't it? It's going to be interesting because he's going to be coming in and he's riding the crest of the wave. Just got a transfer, scored a worldie goal in his last game against Trabzonspor for FC Gallen. He's going to be riding the crest of a wave now. He's going to be looking at it thinking, yeah, I'll take his spot. He's a big lad, and he's a big lad, and it's good competition to have in the ranks. And that is my whole criticism with the whole goalkeeper thing. There's no competition there, and that doesn't push you to be at your very best. Whereas Bogle now has that with Schmidt, you know. With Byram, who came on yesterday, I thought was a bit of a steady Eddie as well. You got a combination of Byram and Ramazani there, so yeah, I thought that was quite nice as well. Okay, everyone. Well, we'll leave it there. If you want to get some additional bits, you can head on over to the Patreon. Let me know the 3 things that you thought as well. Let me know in the comment section below after the video. I'll go back and read all your comments as I always do. But yeah, get your comments in the section below, everybody. Like the video. Check out IPM Group as well. For all of your security services who sponsored the video. Really appreciate that. Rick and the lads, community-based stuff. It's all Leeds United stuff. So, yeah, guys, absolute pleasure. And we'll see you tomorrow with the counterpoint and some more Leeds bits. Cheers.